It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. I never do this alone. I have my lovely co-host here. Hi, ladies.
Oh, I'm back at last.
Everybody's missed
my
you.
detractors, even though my detractors are facing me, I'm back.
Good to have you back. How was celebration, YK?
Very, very nice. Very, very. I will not talk too much because I know we have a guest.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say I have to thank the celebration was successful and we would not have been possible without the Lagos State government.
Aww.
Seriously, I'm not praising them or anything. I want to speak factually. If they hadn't, I'm telling you, we would have.
Right.
So we got that sponsorship at the right time and.
Fantastic. Well done to Governor Ambody, because I think he's really participated in arts and culture in Lagos State. Yeah. And it's important that they begin to recognize our heroes, and Fela obviously is one of them. So I'm so thank God to our governor and the entire team. So
thank you, all the ministry people. Thank you.
We have a guest here. She is from TED, TED licensee, TED ex-Mende Women. TEDx Mende Women, and she's Florence Atunwa Olumodimu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
She's hosting the TEDx Women in Mende coming up on Friday. Tell us about it.
All right, so the TED events are events that are global, and you have 2 international conferences in America a year, but then you then have the TEDx events, which are independently organized events, and this is one of them. But this is special because, you know, I'm sure you've heard about TED Bagada, there's been TEDx Yaba, TEDx Victoria. This is a women's event. So there's one women conference globally, annually. So this year's one will be holding in New Orleans from the 1st to the 3rd of November. On the 3rd of November, across the world, they've given licenses to specific people to then host simultaneous events. So we're hosting one.
Oh, congratulations. So you're amongst those hosting it simultaneously.
You are something like very much like Celebration. What Celebration is gone in for.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. So when is it and how can we participate?
It's on the 3rd of November. This is just on Friday. So we have just barely 3 days left.
How many speakers do you have?
We have 13 speakers.
One of which is our own.
Yes. Mariah is one of our speakers.
Yes, thank you. I'll be speaking. Yes.
So we have 12 women and 1 man. Right. Tony Khan. He's the only man amongst us.
So what are we trying to achieve with this?
What's the man doing there?
Yeah, so he's going to... He was raised... No, he's coming to still speak on women issues anyway. So he has a special story to tell. The women's conference, the Global Women's Conference, the theme is bridges. And bridges is a metaphor for ideas, solutions. You know, preferring solutions. So locally, we've aligned it to be, yes, we can build bridges. Right. So everybody's coming to talk about in their different areas on
how to build
little
bridges.
Problems they can solve and different things. So we have...
So how do people come? Speakers. Can we just come and attend, or is it by invitation?
Unfortunately, we have limited spaces. So we have to really restrict the people that actually come physically. But I'm here to share the good news. The good news is we are very active on social media, and Intel is supporting us with broadband. So we're going to be doing a live stream.
Right. Good.
So as many people as possible that follow us.
How do we get there?
You have to just get to at TEDx Mende Women on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And on the morning, on the morning of the event, by 7 a.m., the link will be there. So you can be in your office. You were starting at 9.
9 sharp.
Sharp.
Because African time.
No.
I have to ask.
Unfortunately, we can't take it, but thank you so much. We're excited. Friday, we watch it online at TEDx Mende Women.
And we're giving 15 tickets out to the most active followers on social media. And you know social media is transparent. It's analytics. So people watching now can go to any of our 3 handles, like our pages, go back all the way to the beginning and share the content.
Yeah, exactly. Get to come on Friday.
I thought you were saying 15 to New Orleans. I'll quickly have something right now.
No, 15 to our own venue here in Lagos.
Congratulations, and we look forward to a fantastic event.
And I look forward to your speech.
Yes, I'm doing. Trust me, I've been practicing. My husband is like on my case. Practice, so don't go and disgrace us. Don't worry. I'll do everything.
You'll be good.
All right.
You will not only be disgracing him.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's take a break now. When we come back, we're going to go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the Punch. Nigerians to Buhari, sacking Lawal, okay, not enough. Prosecute them. EFCC, ICPC free to go after them, says presidency. Impeach president, PDP tells National Assembly. New SGF is Lawal's cousin, says Junaid Mohammed. No cabal in Buhari's government. Don't discuss second term with me, says Tinubu. Osun 2018, APC using police to silence me, says Omishore. Subpoena, Jonathan asked Metu for 1 billion naira to appear in court. Soldiers invade Ibadan community, mark houses for demolition. Buhari aware of Mina's reinstatement. I warned him. Head of service in leaked memo. Budget, African Development Bank cancels $400 million loan to Nigeria. Dezani planning to escape UK trial, says EFCC. Israeli firm to secure Nigeria's maritime space. And FG to pay civil war victims 50 billion naira. All right, which stories?
There's human angle, the Ibadan story.
The Ibadan story, yeah, I wanted to take that. Is this estate in Ibadan? It's Mesingo Estate in the Akobu area of Ibadan, or your state. And they have this estate and their landlords, people who own the houses. And the military has come and marked all the houses, I think 49 houses for demolition.
The military is claiming
the military, yeah, that it's military land.
Right.
And they are like, well, it was the former governor, the late governor Ishola, that bought the land and built the house and, you know, the estate. And they have bought the, but the military say, no, it's their house. And they've been telling them since to get off the land. How can we just get off? No, okay, that they should pay for the land. They cannot afford to pay. So they said they're going to demolish.
The other story concerning Dezani,
Dezani, EFCC is saying Dezani is planning to escape justice in the trial in the UK based on the fact that the Metropolitan Police in the UK has advanced investigation to the point where there might be prosecution very soon. And Dezani's statement request to be brought back to Nigeria is just because she wants to escape prosecution in over there. So basically that's it. But I want to take another story about the Jonathan and Metu story. So Jonathan's lawyer, the son, Ezekome has replied the court that you can summon my client, former President Goodluck Jonathan, but you'd have to pay his expenses, which would cost $1 billion naira. 1 billion naira to bring our former president to Abuja from Otuoke.
He's talking to really not
the court, the federal government. If you're asking him to come,
it's the Metu that's asking him to come as a witness for his...
an order for, to order a person to appear as witness in another person's trial. And that's what the court has granted. Jonathan is now saying they should set aside that order, granting his subpoena, and I then award, asked me to put in 1 billion naira for his expenses from Otuoke.
But is the subpoena not based on Metu's request?
Even if it's a plain charter.
But he's going to be flying with an entourage of a lot of security. 1 billion.
Where will Metu be able to afford that? He that has just refunded 400.
Let's move on to the nation. Buhari hands over Lawal to anti-graft agencies. Picture here of Buhari and Tinubu shaking hands. Tinubu, I have confidence in Buhari. African Development Bank calls off proposed $400 million loan to Nigeria. Metu, Jonathan asks for 1 billion naira to be in court. And cultists severe Ekiti Varsity students' head. African Development Bank, they're saying that of the $1 billion loan to Nigeria, although they've given some, they're taking back, they're cancelling for the next installment of $400 million, saying that instead of using that to fund our budget, because the crude oil prices have increased, so they expect that we shouldn't be taking any too much loans. So they're saying that specific projects, they're going to put that money into specific projects, so not just giving it to fund the budget.
I even prefer that. I prefer that our loans be used for infrastructure and not to fund budget, which is usually 70% recurrent.
Exactly. All right. So the major headline, President Buhari, after 6 months after receiving the report on Babachir Lawal and on the allegations that they had, now hands them over to the EFCC. And I see that as an admittance of the futility of the administrative panel is set up. I would have expected that immediately these allegations were brought in, someone had looked into it. We had a complete Senate probe on it, headed by Sani, what's his name? The man from Kaduna State, the senator from Kaduna State. The Senate had a complete probe that had done enough administrative Shehu Sani over this. They didn't have to put the vice president to sit over an administrative panel whose futility, because now they don't have the power to prosecute. They're just now asking the necessary security agencies to go and do their duties.
Yes, okay.
And I just wanted to say, I can't really understand why the vice president was put to, because first of all, the result was not released to the public, and this kind of thing should have been released to the public.
It was a mere recommendation that would have ended that administrative.
But they didn't do anything about it.
Exactly.
They should have handed them over. It should have been EFCC that investigated them.
The presidency is even saying that, listen, yes, we've sacked them. Now let the ICPC and EFC do their jobs.
Babachela, wow, when he was suspended, mentioned when they told him the presidency had suspended him, he asked, who is the presidency? That's the question Nigerians are asking, because there are too many conspiracies around our presidency.
Who has answered your question?
Especially linked with the Meina saga, where the head of service mentioned that he had spoken to the president. She has spoken to the president about reinstating Meina that was going to cause crisis.
Okay,
so the presidency's link with a lot of these controversies are too much, and our president is known for fighting corruption. We must be firm about this thing.
Asking what was that recommendation, the document? Was it recommended that just sack them?
You can't just sack them.
You don't know that, so it's based on the recommendations.
That's why I'm asking, why wasn't it made public?
We're waiting.
Or why hasn't it been made public?
They're always reacting, Murayo. They're always reacting.
Okay, let's move on.
But they don't act.
They will react now. They will make it public tomorrow.
Our president was sick. He was in London when that report came out. So
okay, I reserve my comments because you will nearly
Daily Sun.
If I should comment.
As Buhari sweeps out SGF NIADG, it's over for Babashir and Okep. Civil war landmines. ECOWAS court awards 88 billion naira fine against federal government. Buhari, Saraki, Dogara, Oyegun, Tinubu meet ahead APC neck. Newswatch, Jimo Ibrahim wins appeal in court. He wins at the court of appeal. Forensic audit unveils more fraud at National Arts Theatre. EFCC tracks Meina to US, UK, and Dubai. So congratulations to
the landmine,
the victims of the civil war.
Exactly.
What happens is that the ECOWAS court has awarded 88 billion now. 50 billion is going to
as compensation.
The 38 billion is for remove the landmines.
To remove the landmines. So the story is that the contract had been awarded before, and the companies that were given the contract to remove the landmines didn't have funds to continue, and the landmines are still there. But now it is legally agreed, a partnership between, as in there was a settlement. So that means that both parties are going to do it. The money should be made available, please.
Yes, it's saying that
ECOWAS court, do they really answer them? Because Dasuki took them to ECOWAS court. He won and nobody answered them.
But the federal government agreed.
They agreed
to sign to it. The EFCC tracking Meina to the US. The head of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, was saying that that they are going to track Meina. Right now, they are going to Dubai. They have a lead on him in Dubai, and they're going to track him all the way to US. And
how did he leave the country?
Sorry, did he just resume
How did he leave the country? Did he not being flagged down by Interpol?
I wanted to link it to the head of the civil service, Oyo Ita, saying that, I want the president on the reinstatement of this person. This man, we know that was in Nigeria. He's not missing. Just go and arrest him wherever he is. Now, she said in a letter that she wrote to the presidency, and she quoted the letter that, she thought it was inappropriate to reinstate this man because of the fight against because of the anti-corruption war, and they went ahead and he reinstated.
And she even had a physical meeting.
Too many embarrassing revelations happening.
So there are so many angles to this story.
Too many.
From different angles, and there are different versions. So we need to be very careful.
Who is the presidency again? And is there a cabal?
Our final paper is Vanguard. After 6 months, Buhari fires Lawal and okay. Talks of cabal in Buhari's government is a myth, says Tinubu. So Tinubu is answering you.
Okay, now.
Farmers and herdsmen clashes claim 2,500 lives, $13.7 billion in 1 year, says Abdul Salami. Budget, ministers others suffering from military hangover, says senators. Alleged 400 million naira fraud. May 2 must deposit $1 billion for me to testify, says Jonathan. All right, so the meeting obviously went well.
Quickly, the meeting between the former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and President Buhari went well. And when asked, he said, there's no cabal within the presidency. But when also asked about the 2019 presidential ambition, he said, don't ask me that.
It's not in his position.
Use your wisdom to link the two.
What's the link?
What are you linking?
What are you linking?
I'm not there.
There's no link.
Don't ask me, meaning that it's automatic?
Or It's not his business.
It's none of my business.
No,
I think it's none of my business.
That's your own submission.
So link the two.
because your wisdom, I'm concerned about this wisdom you're talking about.
That's all we can take on front page review.
Are we not wise?
When we return, a security guard, according to cable news online, was saying that the security guard actually pimped school girls for $5 grand. Later, we discuss breast cancer awareness. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, according to the reports on cable news, the security guard employed to safeguard the students of the Government Girls College has been pimping out his female pupils to strangers. The guard gave an insight into how he organizes runs for the teenagers for a fee of 5,000 naira and how this is a common practice in many secondary schools across the country. How safe indeed are children in boarding houses? It's your view. Tweet was at TPC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. So we read this material online and we're like, what in the world? Because I went to boarding house and I've always wanted my kids to go to boarding house because I know I learned so much from boarding houses. But with the turn of events now happening, and you're thinking, are boarding houses still safe today when you have guards? Now, this is a unity school, and you can actually almost predict that maybe the standards are different in private schools because you would assume that because of what you're paying, the school is able to afford proper security and all that. But in the same vein, do we still take our kids to boarding house?
I was shocked. Nima wasn't. I have never heard about this before. Nima had. And what was going on in my head is secondary school pupils would actually consensually go outside the school to make money by selling their body, arranged by a security man, a security guard within the school. It felt strange, and that was why I was all for, let's talk about this thing, let parents be aware. Is our secondary school safe? I'm of the opinion that you must raise your children, you must raise your child well enough to be able to decipher between good and evil to the point that they can rationally make proper decisions without your presence. However, they are still teenagers. They should still be under your care. So parents must be aware these things happen. It's a possibility, and be on the lookout.
No, but the issue, the rationale for taking kids to boarding houses today, because back then, it was almost like it was a time for you to grow up, you know, to live somewhere else where you have to take care of your
independence.
You become independent. It was your test into independence. But now, it's almost as if you ship your kids out because you want time to yourself, you don't want to,
so they're never monitoring.
So, you know, you don't really care, you just hand them over to the school.
I didn't go to a boarding house. I went to a fully day school, and I saw during closing time how parents who would bring cars to drop off younger ones in junior school, pick up senior school students, girls, out. And, you know, I knew there was an arrangement. I later found out one of us was making the arrangements. So that's a pimp arrangement. So I wasn't shocked when I read this news. What bothered me is that when a child is left in the care of an adult, someone who you would expect trust to at least instill the right values in the child and protect the child, like the school security, and he was the one in charge of arranging these girls. Now they want for independence, they want for, you know, for adventure.
Experience life.
To experience life is why these girls are doing what they're doing, not necessarily for the money. But the security person in school was doing it for the money. And that's taking advantage of the children. For me, it has defeated the entire essence of putting a child in a boarding school.
I didn't go to a boarding house. I went to an all-girls school. Now, before I go there, I want to say, let's not forget Queen's College. It was the teacher that was allegedly sexually, and that guy, they didn't sack him, they transferred him to a boys' school. So he has, if there was no court case against him, nothing was instituted against him. Now, I went to an all-girls school, and there were 2 male teachers. They were quite handsome. And I used to see girls in their office. the girls, and there were rumors. In fact, by the time we were doing our O levels, 2 girls, wow, they had maternity, they transferred their uniform to maternity wear. Wow. I'm not saying they were pregnant for the teachers, I don't think so. But I had seen them flirting with the teachers, and the teachers too were doing So there is, now I also had a friend who was a youth corper. Right. And he was teaching in a, and he says, our girls here, they're my girlfriends.
But see, YK,
it is very common.
It goes by, YK, to the quality of the kinds of teachers, personnel we put in schools.
So I just wrote down promoting moral standard. What is the standard with which all the teachers are vetted through? Every staff, everybody that will be interfacing with these children, there must be a basic standard. You know, we had Samoma Sheye here who said that we must have a picture of what we want to achieve with the children. So every school must say that we want to build this type of children, confident, vocal, so you mustn't talk them down, because you know that you want your children from this school to be vocal. There must be an ideology behind every educational system to raise a specific kind of children, which is why this man that was being allegedly pimping out children in that school was said to have been a security man not a security man, he was working in the kitchen. He was a kitchen staff in the hostel, which is closer to the children. And then he was found to be alleged to be doing this. Instead of sacking him or even prosecuting him, they moved him to another department.
Fantastic. So when the federal government says that the reason why they're not increasing the budget of education, because there are funds from different international bodies, there are the NGOs, their rationale for keeping our educational budget at I think just a little over 50 billion naira is because there are other international funds. But you see, nobody is deliberately charting the course of what education should stand for, because if you are, that man will not be employed in the Unity School. Everybody, to the security guard, to the kitchen staff, will be properly trained.
The person must be sacked.
People in charge of training and supervising of these people. We have Universal Basic Education Board in states. We have, under the federal, we have under the Ministry of Education, we have bodies who are supposed to select the kind of teachers that will end up in these schools. I was supposed to be in charge of transferring the kind of teachers that will end up in these schools. Who are the bodies what kind of people make up these bodies?
Exactly. Let me take Divine, then I'll come to YK. Divine, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, first of all, I want to congratulate you for your award you displayed last week Friday.
Oh, CMC, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, the topic about our schools and the security in charge and how they do their malpractices. In fact, don't be surprised, even those in primary school.
Right, primary school, possibly, yeah. Possibly, you're right.
Don't be surprised, even those that are in primary school. I want to say this without any reservation. I saw somebody that is in primary school. A bike man took him to school.
Oh my goodness.
Later, he now called the guy to come and pick her. Unfortunately, that girl was with a wrapper in her bag. I saw it myself. The girl was with a wrapper, with a condom in her bag. Hey. And in fact, he now told the guy that, look, that is not a baby. My dear, number one, the issue of handshake have caught up a lot of things. They want these things online, so they want to practicalize it.
Thank you very much, Divine. That's an angle that Divine just brought in, because children, as they are growing up, their bodies are changing. They are curious. They want to know. They want to experiment. They're sensing all sorts of things. That's where parenting comes in again.
You can't abdicate your parenting job to the school.
As the child is evolving, somebody needs to define what those changes mean. Because then a security guard is teasing you and you're thinking, oh, I would like to experiment. But that's the issue of parenting also.
That is why people wonder, should mothers work? Listen, why I'm saying this, should mothers work? It's because you are abdicating your responsibility to the school, because when your child comes home from school, you are not there, you are in the office. Right. When your child is going through these changes, you are not there, you are in the office. Or maybe you have to go on one conference to one country. Who is there? You are not. It's not. Is it your husband? Listen, is it your husband that's going to be saying, come darling, sex education?
Some people
your husband will not even. Don't interrupt me now. Your husband will not even be able to discuss this with your girl child. Okay. That is one thing. We all have to work.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying,
That balance.
If we had a balance, if we had a good society where, you know, things worked, nobody would. I would prefer staying home with my children.
Are we saying we can't blame the security guard in this situation? We're blaming the parents.
As much as we can blame them, I think we're in agreement here that the essence of, you know, leaving your child, making your child get mature and, you know, exposing your child to proper education in a boarding school has been defeated, because you cannot leave your child because of in the hands of people like this. The people in charge of employing them are not doing their job. So you, as a parent, have to do the job yourself.
Okay.
You have to be a parent.
Exactly. 24 hours. Let me take Olalere from University of Ilorin, Kwara State. Are you there? Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I've been enjoying your program for quite a while.
Thank you.
But the issue on ground, it far goes beyond what we are thinking.
Okay.
Our governments are not working. The security man, how much is he paid per month? People look for a way to cut corners until we are able to address issues that have to do with public school, private school, and unity schools. If we don't address, you pay people low wages, and you expect them not to cut corners. It's unfortunate that the rich, or the semi-rich, put their children in private school. The poor people put their children in public school. So this is something that will continue for as long as government will not rise up its responsibilities. Thank you very much.
I think that all of them are culpable. There must be strict adherence to the rules. Is the rule clear to everybody that is in the school, right from security man, even all the way to the teachers, head teacher, on what to do? The said reporter that broke this news said he reached out to the head teacher and the principal, and that we're going to investigate it. But there was a sense of powerlessness to this thing. Same thing with Queen's College. You write the letter, the ministry gets it, they don't work on it. So there is a chain of everybody culpable. But as parents, be in charge, monitor what children are doing. Don't say you're too busy to travel to go and visit your children in boarding house, because some people don't go and visit on visiting day.
Excuse me, even if you go and visit your child, you visit your child once in 2 weeks.
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. Until we start making our own government officials send their children to these schools.
Unity schools.
Then there will be no solution. If they are not going to those schools, because when your child is there, my monitor expand.
Yes.
Or you make sure that the system works.
You need that guard would have been arrested by
if your child was there, you make sure the system works.
Unfortunately, we can't take it, but we need to continue to monitor these kind of stories, because parents must be aware, and that's what brought it to the conversation today. Parents must be aware. Your children are in boarding house. Don't leave them. Ask questions. Be there. Make sure the surrounding is clean, and also don't abdicate your responsibility to the teachers. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, remember, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October, today is 30th, so our last day. We're going to remind you again on how to take care of yourself. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So it's no longer news that cancer is the second leading cause of female death worldwide. Report has it that breast cancer constitutes a major public health issue globally, with over 1 million new cases diagnosed annually, resulting in over 400,000 annual deaths and about 4.4 million women living with the disease. Joining us is a woman who beat cancer and the co-founder of the Bricken Foundation, Abigail Simon Hart, and the general and breast surgeon, Dr. Emeka Nwose. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
You can give us your view. Tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. Right. So pretty much there's a general awareness of cancer. We all know breast cancer is out there. But I think where we are right now is getting people to actually go and get it checked. I even know how to check it, because even I mean, just yesterday, interestingly, I did a check for the first time in a long time. You know, I watched a video.
Mammogram?
No. I did my in-house check.
Self-examination.
I mean, I bath every. I know I should, but I hardly do. But I guess we always have this fear of going to find out the unknown.
Exactly.
So let me come to you first, Abigail. Tell us a little bit about how you found out, how you discovered, and how you beat this disease.
Okay, my mother had cancer 4 times, terminal cancer 4 times. 4 times she beat cancer, and she lived for 33 years after, after they told her she was going to die. But then she got cancer the 5th time and she died within 6 weeks.
Wow.
6 months later, I was diagnosed with cancer myself. Ironically, I didn't have breast lumps, but I was very breast aware. I would go for mammograms every single year from quite young because of the fact that we thought it was a family history. And so I was very breast aware. And I did have a mammogram done, but they said it was fine, but I had a gut feel. It's really important to listen to your gut. There's something about instinct that you have. And something was just niggling me, go and check this thing. So when I got to the UK and I went for the mammogram, this is something that I was doing every year. I was so nervous. And the second I walked in and we spent an hour almost on one breast, I knew that I was doomed, in inverted commas. We had an ultrasound done, and by the next day I got a phone call from the doctor who said, basically, it's my day off. Don't go back to Nigeria till you see me. Come to my house. And when an Englishman tells you to come to his house, on his day off, no tea, he's calling you to come and drink.
Right.
So basically, I went and saw him, and he basically said, you have good news, you have bad news. Which do you want first? I said, the bad news. He said, you have cancer, but the good news is we got it early. And I just said, take them off. Right. I didn't even hesitate. I just took them off.
I'll let the ladies come in. But interestingly, what you said is exactly what happened to me last weekend. This weekend, I think it was Friday, I saw a doctor. I had that gut feeling like, I just want to get checked. So I went to the doctor and said, you know what? I would like to do a mammogram because I've been hearing about mammograms. Yeah. He said, yeah, does your mother have a cancer? I said, no. Do you have history of breast cancer in family? I said, no. Hey, you don't need it. You don't need it. Don't. Wow. And I kept saying, okay, can I try the other cervical test? I said, oh, okay, that one I can write. So he wrote me the referral for that, but he skipped the mammogram saying, you don't need to check. You'll be all right. You're all right. You don't look like you have cancer. In my head, I'm thinking, that doesn't sound right.
I didn't look like I had cancer. I got it.
But so maybe I should go back. But let me come to the doctor. The fear of the unknown.
Yeah. What we normally advise these days is to have yourself checked. Right. Because if you catch it early, it can be cured. Right. It's not a death sentence. Okay. And what we normally advise is, one, is self-breast examination. That means examine yourself once a month. And commonly it's advisable to examine the breast after a period, about a week after a period. Because most people, when the breast, just before the period, the breast gets a bit engorged, a bit tender, and it may be a bit more painful touching the breast. So what is advised about a week after the period, examine the breast. And there's a simple technique. Usually it could be lying down, it could be standing up in front of a mirror. Those who have big breasts, it's better examine lying down, so that the breast spreads out. Right. Because when it's like this, you might not be able to touch the whole breast. So but while you're lying down, you examine the right breast with the left hand, and the left breast with the right hand. Commonly what you do is with the hand a bit high up so that the breast spreads out. Right. So you examine segment by segment, so you can be able to examine the whole breast, and then also the armpit in addition. Okay.
So, please, I've heard too many times that there's a link between female fertility treatments and breast cancer. How true is that? You know, the options that you have to take, especially when it comes to, you know, hormonal drugs and all that you have to use.
If you have a breast cancer, or a breast lesion, and you're taking fertility treatment, you are increasing the level of the estrogen in the body. So it grows faster, so to say. It's like being pregnant. The breast cancer gets worse with pregnancy. So that's the only...
So we have the cases where doctors might misadvise you with the intention of, let me just spare you the stress. I know you complain you don't have money. How do we deal with those kind of situations? Sadly, most of the people that I've met that have beat cancer tend to have gotten diagnosed and treated outside Nigeria. You're a doctor in Nigeria. What is the rate of people getting diagnosed in Nigeria?
Before we get to the doctor, I'd like to even hear your experience in Nigeria. Have you heard of anybody? I mean, do we have those services available in Nigeria? What you experience in the UK, in Nigeria, before you come to the doctor?
There are facilities here. It's not that we don't have facilities. It's about education. You know, even the Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." It's about education and accepting it. The reason why we find so many coming late is not that they didn't find it early. It's because they've been to the pastor and had holy oil, holy water, holy mantle, holy everything else. And when all that fails, they now come to hospital. And what I say is that when you're asking God for help, stop telling him how to do his job. I believe that God healed me, but he used the doctor to do it. Yeah. So we do see early cases. It's not as if it's that you don't see early cases. It's just where does that early case go before they get help?
Let's come to the same question concerning especially affordability.
Yeah, the thing is like most people, the early lesions really, sometimes you don't have anything, you can't touch breast and feel anything. So that's the reason why they advise for mammogram. When you do a mammogram is to pick up what they call non-palpable lesion. That means lumps that you can't touch. So when you do a mammogram, is an X-ray, a specialized X-ray. There are some things you look at that makes it suspicious. So when it's suspicious, that's when you do a biopsy. Since you cannot touch it, you have to use a special way of doing a biopsy. Commonly, either is what they call ultrasound guided. With an ultrasound, you see it and then take a biopsy of it, or on a mammogram, which is called stereotactic biopsy, where you'll be able to biopsy it and then find out what it is.
Are there instances of misdiagnosis at all, even with a mammogram done?
Yeah.
Yes, because
she had a mammogram done now. They didn't see
because the mammogram depends on the person who is reading the mammogram. The image is the same. It's the person who is interpreting the images that is sometimes at fault.
It also depends on breast density, because young women, their breasts are quite dense. That's why with the young woman, they'll do mammogram and an ultrasound. Even though I wasn't a young woman, I had quite dense breasts. That's why she suspected something on that mammogram, and then she decided to do an ultrasound. And it was on the ultrasound that they realized something wasn't quite right. And they now did the biopsy and confirmed that it was cancer.
I had the friend, she died a year ago. She was first diagnosed maybe, I think, about 10 years ago. She went to England, had the lumps removed, chemo, everything. She came back, she was cancer-free for over 5 years, 5, 6 years. Then one day she just touched a lump again. She didn't waste time, she rushed to England. This time she had both breasts removed because the doctor found 3 lumps. And she came back, you know, she thought she was okay until in May last year, she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. She died within 6 weeks. It was devastating. Devastating. And I mean, you hear of this kind of, she did all the right things. She found it early. She still died. What do you do in this? I mean, because for me, I had a mammogram done 3 years ago, I think 2, 3 years ago. It was so painful. I said, no, I'm not doing it again. It was too painful for me.
Mammogram is not that so painful anymore.
Do you have breasts? How do you know?
Exactly.
I don't have breasts, but I've had experience with doing mammogram. No. I've seen patients who have had mammogram. Because basically with the mammogram, it's like a press as they compress it. So they will ask you to.
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
And for some women, it was painful.
You put your breast
for
like
me,
this, and you have to put it there, and then you have to compress it.
Oh, you can't do that.
So because why? You want to spread out the breast as much as possible so that the image.
I'm not doing
you
that.
get a good image.
No, but it's actually not that bad.
Painful. It's not painful.
And it doesn't last for a long time as well. It's just for a small period of time.
My breast as if it was meat.
Jesus.
It's about
put it on that thing. Press it like I said.
But my sister, because you did it, you still have your breasts.
Yes.
You don't do it, there's a possibility that you're not losing your breasts.
And also, mammogram is supposed to be yearly.
Yeah.
Every year.
Above the age of 40. It should be yearly.
Are due for another one.
So
if you have
so press it again like that?
Because they always come about radiation.
Yeah,
does that affect other parts of
the amount of radiation in a mammogram is very minimal.
Okay.
Part of the reason is when you are below the age of 40, we commonly don't advise mammogram.
Right.
Because if you radiate a breast that is very early, you can have a tendency to provoke a malignancy or any change.
Okay.
So those who are below the age of 40, we advise to do a breast ultrasound.
Ah, very good. Okay, so and the mom was right now. I don't need.
So you do a breast ultrasound.
Let me take. I'm close enough. When I get there, I never reach. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Gotta share. All right, thanks for staying with us. So during the break, we're learning about the various, because initially before the break, we talked about mastectomy was a bit painful, but you were trying to make us understand that there's a digital option. So you can do, and hopefully there are this is breast cancer awareness month. There are lots of people out there doing stuff for free, so we should pay attention.
But you mentioned that aside from just telling me that I don't have cancer or telling somebody else that you have cancer, what do you do after you get the diagnosis? Who's going to help you go through that? Because we have a lot of foundations that are doing free tests, but there's nobody really marketing that we would help you fund the treatment, which you know it is expensive.
That's the main reason why we set up our own foundation, because we discovered there was a gap. And foundations are doing fantastic work in creating awareness and finding the early ones, supposedly, and some of the later ones. But okay, you've diagnosed me for free. Who's going to pay for my treatment now? And that's why we set up our foundation, to try and assist families who already have the disease. We don't do screening at all. Yes. There's enough people doing screening. So we take the patients once they've already been diagnosed. And our help ranges from paying for treatment to sometimes people just need emotional support. Some people just need us to counsel them. Right. Some people need only help with diagnostic tests. So we try as much as possible to do something. We may not be able to do everything. Yeah. But
I want about when diagnosis is made, and then you don't find a lump necessarily, but you find other things. How do you go about this with the patient? You just let them go after the mammogram, and then you discover something?
Normally, when there's a mammogram, the radiologist will make a report saying there is something suspicious. Also, just in addition, if you have a previous mammogram, the diagnosis is usually more accurate because they have something to compare with. So if you have something in this new one and not in the old one, the radiologist will be able to say, okay, something is new here. Let's see what it is. And commonly what you do is a biopsy. The common biopsy is with a needle. They put a needle to that area, take a sample, send to the pathologist who says that is cancer. Then once you have that diagnosis, then you have to offer some form of treatment. Commonly, it could be to remove the lump. But when you remove the lump, you have to do radiotherapy. And the problem we have in Nigeria now is that very few functional radiotherapy centers. Wow. That is
Mr. Abigail that went straight to taking out the breast.
We'll come to that. Let me take this call from Choma. Choma, are you there? Oh, I'm sorry we lost that call. So Abigail, you decided to have a mastectomy to take off both breasts. Yes. Why did you do that? And how have you, and after the mastectomy, you live in family, relationships, getting married or not getting married, or having a relationship with your husband. Those are fears women have. Those are real fears. How did you come over those fears?
For me, basically, my position was, if my breasts are going to kill me, I'm going to take them off. It wasn't even, I didn't even think about it. He had barely finished telling me I had cancer when I said take them off. And I have no regrets because I'm alive. We have women who say, oh, but if I remove my breast, my husband will leave me. And I say, if your relationship is held together by your breasts, your problems are bigger than your breasts. And at the end, it's living women that take care of children and their husbands, not dead ones. Sister. If you're 6 foot under, your husband that you're scared is going to go outside, he's leaving you, girl. If your breast is decomposing because you have cancer, he's not going to sleep with you or come near you. He's going to go outside. So it's not a negotiable thing.
So I ask you as a woman, yes, how has it been after post?
Fine, because at the end of the day, prostheses nowadays are fantastic. If I didn't tell you I have a will you know?
We didn't know.
You didn't know now. And if you like, you can have 3 sizes, 4 sizes. You can go up, downgrade, upgrade.
You understand
what my friend
because there are a lot of women out there that have this real fear.
Yeah.
When the heat is on, how is it done? How?
I think there's other things you can concentrate on from apart from your breast. Not many breasts we get now.
Okay. Just checking. So it's important that people know now.
Not many breasts we get now.
What my friend did was, they removed the breast, but they didn't remove the skin. And then they put silicone.
I chose, mine are external. I didn't want to go through 2 surgeries because I want breasts. For me, personally, I refuse to do more surgeries.
Right.
Mine was that whoever is going to love me is going to love me with or without my breasts. Right. And I left it at that. And I'm not ashamed. Fantastic. And I think that's the whole thing. We need to destigmatize that thing. I'm not ashamed.
That's the point. All right, let's take this call. Are you there? Yeah, go ahead, please.
And the blessed gentleman.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Gerald. I'm calling from Abuja.
Yes.
I have 2 quick questions, and if I'm allowed, a quick comment on the last topic. All right. So, first one, is it true? I heard or read somewhere that over fondling the breast, over sucking and all of that predisposes you to cancer. Is that correct? Number two, did I hear the doc say that you go for the mammogram test when you are over 40, or does it apply for people younger than that?
Thank you very much, Gerald, for the questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the first one, touching the breast or funding the breast, does not in any way cause cancer. And secondly, I said those who are over 40 do mammogram. Those who are below 40, we advise them to do the breast ultrasound. Those with a family history of breast cancer will start doing mammogram a bit earlier. Maybe by the age of 35, they'll start doing mammogram.
Gotcha. All right.
Can I say something? Quite often you find that the breast lump is found by the husband and not the wife, because the men generally go to the breasts. Yeah. So you find in most cases the man who knows the woman's breast better than herself. So in very many cases, I'm sure doctor will confirm that it was found by the husband and not by the wife herself.
Husbands should also pay attention. And
yes. I was just actually, when he said that, I was going to say that a lot of cases is the husbands who find
points out that there's something.
There are two questions here. I wanted to. Kainde Oguntayo says, Doc, I banged my left breast and the sharp edge of the table 2 months ago and it still hurts. Should I be worried? And the other one, should a breastfeeding mom examine her breast monthly?
Well, when you hit your breast on a sharp object or a hard object, the common thing is that you might have what they call like a hematoma or a fat necrosis. They might feel a lump there. So what she needs to do is have a scan done and let them be sure there's nothing going on there.
Right.
And then breastfeeding mom.
The breastfeeding mother, she says, should she examine her breast monthly?
Yes, she's breastfeeding all the time, so the breast is always engorged. So what happens with the breastfeeding mothers is when they have a lump, it might be a bit more difficult to detect because the breast is quite engorged.
But there is a general, I mean, I always have this fear when I do my self-examination because there's one big lump. I mean, is there a major lump in, is the breast supposed to be all clear? I've never touched another person's breast, so I don't know.
You can't touch
it. Maybe I'll touch it and I'll just compare. Is there a big lump inside? One lump. That's the only one I've always known all my life. There's a big lump. But I'm always scared, like, is this the correct lump or should I be scared about it?
There's different textures.
Okay.
So, if you examine two women's breasts, they don't feel the same.
Oh, right.
They're always different.
Okay.
Some are lumpy, some are smooth, because the breast is made up of fibrous elements and granular elements.
Right.
If you have more granular elements, it feels soft and smooth all through. If you have more fibrous elements, it feels a bit more lumpy. Okay. And that's the reason why young breasts are more dense and lumpy than the older
so you shouldn't be scared if you feel any kind of lump.
So the purpose of the breast examination is that you know how your breast feels. Right. So when it feels different, then you know there's something going on.
Since you've been talking about this matter, my breast is paining me.
Yes,
saying that this woman
go and do your mammogram.
She's an hero. I love her spirit. Breast cancer is real. And King Fabs is saying, you're kind of right, it's not new. You're talking about the other topic. Okay.
All right. I think that's all we can say. Thank you very much. Any last words for us, Abigail?
Please don't forget about cancer after October, because what's going to happen, everybody's done all this hype from day after tomorrow. Everybody forgets those women who have breast cancer. So don't forget that cancer is real. Early detection is what saves lives.
And don't forget, she said something earlier, your gut. If something tells you go get tested, please go get tested. You can go to General Hospital. Yes. Say you want to have a self-examination.
Exactly.
They'll direct you on how to cervical cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, the whole works. Have a test. Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure having you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
That's all we can take on the show. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.